In the distant future, humanity will have to fight to survive. As the planet is dying little by little, there is almost no drinking water, nor food, and some cities have been submerged under the water of the sea. Sit down, relax, and get comfortable, because today I'm going to tell you extrapolation. The story begins in the year 2038, when planet Earth is on the brink of collapse due to the fact that the climate is changing drastically. The atmosphere is becoming toxic, the forests are full of garbage, the poles are melting rapidly, the water level is increasing, and some areas are on fire. Now we come to a city that has advanced technology. The hologram of a lady is asking the audience when was the last time they saw a blue sky. It also mentions that big companies are not interested in taking care of the planet. All they want is to continue producing more money. Thousands of people go out to protest outside a building where a meeting is being held with the leaders of each country who are very concerned about the droughts that are taking place. Even in some parts of the world, they ran out of drinking water. A comrade named Omar tells them that they could negotiate with the company Alpha to provide them with some technological advance to combat the drought. However, the others tell him that Alpha will not want to help them because they're only interested in getting money. And if he didn't ask them for that, it's because they are interested in getting something else. Now we come to Omar's wife named Rebecca, who is breastfeeding with her co-worker named Jima. They had gone to the forest to monitor the behavior of the birds, but they ended up in the middle of a forest fire and they can't breathe. Fortunately, Rebecca's cell phone has GPS, so a rescue helicopter goes for them. At the hospital, Jima asks her if she will join the project that seeks to revive several species of animals. Rebecca says yes, but she is worried that in this step they will also have to revive human beings. On the other hand, Nick, Alpha's CEO, is having his best life inside his luxury mansion. While he is swimming, his IA assistant tells him that if he agrees to help the leaders of each country, the company will lose more than $2 billion. Hearing this, Nick tells him that he is not interested in providing them with support. Since he wants to focus on building a casino in the Arctic, he is just waiting for the ice to melt. His IA assistant interrupts him and tells him that building a casino in the Arctic will be extremely complicated because he will have to obtain permission. However, Nick does not care in the least because the casino will only be used as a distraction, since his true goal is to take possession of the deposits of minerals that are hidden under the ice. Desgraciado! Outside the UN building, there are thousands of people gathered waiting for Nick's answer. While the IA assistant is on his way, someone from the UN communicates with them to tell them that they will grant them the necessary permission so that they can make use of the deposits of minerals, but in return, they will have to provide for free their technology that turns seawater into drinking water. So Nick makes a press conference to mention that he will work with the UN to save the planet, but when he mentions the issue of minerals, everyone gets upset because they know that things will only get worse. Later, Omar goes to the hospital to meet his son. Because it turns out that Rebecca was pregnant, she tells him that she is worried because his blessing was born with a problem in his heart. But Omar tells him that maybe in the future medicine can cure him, so there is nothing to worry about. At that moment, Omar receives a call from an official who tells him that he regrets having given that permission to Nick. Meanwhile, the accomplice communicates with one of his friends named Junior to ask him to help him with the construction of the casino. Junior's assistant tells him that doing a construction in the Arctic is only going to speed up the melting of the ice, and that will cause the water level to rise, but Junior doesn't care if he tells him that if that happens, they will be able to obtain contracts to modernize the coastal buildings, and he's also sure that he will not live as long as to see the disasters they will cause. The next day, Junior, his wife and friends travel to the Arctic to see where they're going to build the casino. They want it to be a very special location because they hope to attract all the millionaires in the world. Junior tells them that they could install a hunting area, but the problem is that there are no polar bears anymore. When they arrive in the Arctic, they get on a boat that will take them to a small rock formation. Junior is very impressed because there is almost no ice, and the land areas are very scarce. When getting off the boat, Junior is going to take a walk to analyze the terrain, and that's when he realizes that they won't be able to build a casino because the ground is very unstable. At first he thinks that Nick is making a bad decision, but when he finds out that there are some very prized mineral caves, he gets angry because he realized that Nick wanted to see the face of Menso, and he is sure that he will not want to share his earnings with the others. As he approaches the sea, he sees that a bat is watching him, so he pretends to shoot him while he tells her that they may be in his home area. But the baby bat's mother comes from behind and tells him, "You're done for, boss. No one messes with my blessing," and peaky. He jumps on him and leaves him stiff to the touch. A few years later, we reach 2046. The state of the planet Earth has worsened. Now a suffocating fog fills the air everywhere. The sea level has risen so much that there are few firm land areas, and the vast majority of people live in cities that are almost submerged in water. And the worst of all is that 95% of the animals went extinct. Rebecca is working in a company that protects animals while she thinks about how she could revive certain species. She is currently monitoring 4 whales, since they are the only ones left in the world, and only one of them is pregnant. At that moment, her co-worker's hologram appears and tells her that 3 whales were dragged to the coast. And that's bad because she knows they're going to hunt them, but at this point, they can't do anything. Rebecca feels very sad about that, but tries to cheer up a bit because the pregnant whale is safe. The next day, Rebecca sends her son Ezra to school, and this is when we find out that Omar went further due to the air quality. At school, Ezra and his friends are studying the animals that have already gone extinct, and when Ezra sees a tiger's hologram, he tells his friends that his mom is working on a project to revive them, but one of his friends tells him that this is not possible because tigers are from the time of dinosaurs. But when he hears this, Ezra gets so upset that he hits the table and tells him that this is not true. One of his friends asks him to calm down, since if he gets more upset, his heart could fail. On the other hand, Rebecca is communicating with the whale through some sounds. She tells him that it is the last whale that is left alive, but the whale says no, because last night he heard the song of a male whale. Rebecca communicates with her superiors to tell them what the whale mentioned to her and asks them to provide her with more food so that she can feed them, but her boss refuses and tells her that whales consume more than 1,300 kilos of food and cannot spend their resources. Upon returning home, Ezra tells her that the videos that her grandmother Eve recorded are good. Meanwhile, Rebecca continues to listen to the whale's audios, and something very curious is that she speaks like Grandma Eve because Rebecca uploaded her voice to the program with which she communicates with the whale. Ezra tells her that due to her condition, she will only live 30 years, so he would like to know if he will also use his voice so that an animal can communicate with her. But Rebecca says no, since he will live a long time. She returns to her base underwater to try to find the male whale, but one of her bosses talks to her and reveals that the male whale does not exist. They use some audios to deceive the female whale to encourage her to approach the facilities, since Nick is very interested in her. The whale feels betrayed, so she is going to confront her boss, but the lady makes fun of her and tells her that they will do whatever is necessary to continue growing the company. When Rebecca returns home, she starts crying because she sees herself reflected in the whale. She is determined to save the whale, so she returns to the underwater base and sends a message to the whale asking her not to listen to the male whale songs because humans are lying to her. The whale appears and tells her that she does not understand what it means to lie, so Rebecca tells her that it is an affirmation that does not correspond to the truth and then apologizes. The whale understands the message and tells her that she will soon die, and that makes her sad because she knows that she is the last of her species. But Rebecca tries to encourage her by telling her that maybe in the future the whales will come back to life and she will make sure they have a quiet life. Rebecca's bosses find out what she did, so they transfer her to the Arctic so that she can take care of the last wolves left. Rebecca and Ezra pack their things, but before arriving in the Arctic, she launches a horn to the sea, and when playing the sounds of a whale, her friend Whale appears and says goodbye to them both.
Oye, estoy confundido. ¿Es un final triste o un final feliz?
Es un final y basta.